ask how much they should weigh. Well, there's really no one specific answer for any person. Depends a lot on different things. It depends on your age, it depends on your gender, it depends on your height, all these different things. You wouldn't expect a 5'2" person to weigh the same as a 6' person, and you wouldn't expect somebody that maybe has a larger bone density to weigh less than somebody with a smaller bone density. So there's a lot to take into account. So rather than just focus on weight, a lot of times what we'll look at is height and weight. A good way to do that is to look at the BMI, which is the body mass index, and essentially it takes your height and your weight, sticks it into a formula, gives you a number, and from that number you can determine where you fall. You're underweight, are you at a healthy weight, are you overweight, or are you bordering on obese? So we're going to look at this formula, we're going to go through an example, and we're going to show you how it works so you can determine it for yourself. So what the formula is, I have it written on this board here. Our BMI is our weight in pounds. You're going to times that by 703. You're going to take that number, you're going to divide it by your height in inches, and then you're going to square that. So essentially taking your height times your height. So the first thing you need to do is determine your weight. And we're actually going to go through an example. We're going to use Bob. Okay, Bob weighs 190 pounds. Okay, so whatever your weight is, just write that there. Alright, and then his height. His height is 6 feet. Okay, so 6 feet in inches is 72 inches. So we're going to write 72 inches here. And that's going to give us our start here. So we're going to plug those numbers into the formula. So you want to grab a calculator so you can go through this. So for the top one, we're going to take his weight, which is 190. Times it by 703. It's going to give you a pretty big number here. Alright, so we got 133,570. So write that down. Alright, great. So that's our top number. Now we need our bottom number so we know what to divide by. Alright, so his height is 72. We're going to take 72, times it by 72, and that's going to give us 5,184. Alright, so we're going to take this top number that you get when you plug in your weight, divide it by this height number that you get on the bottom. So we're going to have 133,570 divided by 5,184. And that's actually going to give us 25.7. So we'll round that up to 26. Alright, so we're falling in this 26 range. Or you can keep it about 25.7. So either way, it's 25.7, 26. 26 for a lot of people is easier to remember, so you know where you're at. Alright, so there. Now what I want to do is we got this scale. When we look at the scale, it divides it down into underweight, healthy weight, overweight, and obese. So if you're less than 18.5, if this number here is less than 18.5, you're actually underweight. If it falls between 18.5 and 25, that's a good healthy weight. That means that your weight is great for where you're at. And you really don't need to lose too much weight. You might want to add some muscle, tone up, those kinds of things, but your main focus is not going to be weight loss. Now, if your number is from 25 to 30, you're considered overweight. So this guy, where he's at 26, he's just slightly overweight. If he could get this number down to 25, he'd be in the healthy weight. So when we're looking at his weight, which is 190 pounds, he could stand to lose just a few pounds. Not too much, but just a little bit to get into that healthy weight. So again, that's between 18.5 and 25, which is healthy. 25 and 30 is overweight, and then actual obese is 30. So if we're seeing this number from 30 on up, you're considered obese, which increases your risks of heart disease and diabetes and different conditions like that could be problems for you down the road. So if you're above 30, you definitely want to get it down. If you're between that 25 and 30, you know, you're a little bit overweight, getting to that point where you're growing towards that obesity. You do want to get that down. So again, you want to get this number between 18.5 and 25 in there. Now one thing I do want to mention, that this does not take into account somebody that has a lot of muscle mass, such as a bodybuilder. So it's not perfect for everybody, but it will work for most people, the normal average person that doesn't have tons of muscle mass. So it's a great way to look at where your weight should be, where your weight is now, and if you could stand to lose a few pounds. So I'd recommend using this formula, see where your number falls, and then you can have an idea of how much you should really weigh.